So in this episode, we get to talk to my favorite guest ever. And that happens to be my husband, Michael Sean. Woohoo! Yes, and so this is the second time he's been on the podcast. The first one was episode 13, where we interviewed him because both of us come from a domestic abuse background or domestically destructive. Mine was basically a silent version of punishment, and Mike's was a very loud, verbally aggressive and demeaning punishment. And so we talked about that, but what we're going to talk about this time is more about how we live brighter and what we've learned from it, because the biggest thing with this podcast is it's one thing to get out of a domestically destructive situation, and it's a whole nother beast in order to recover so you're not having a different version of the same thing. And that's what I'm super passionate about, is like getting rid of our kind girl bullseye and having some, changes within ourselves so we're not even attracting that kind of personality. And then also having the tools to build the relationship of our dreams. And that really starts with like knowing ourselves, loving ourselves, and having that healthy relationship with God, ourselves, and others. And so today we're going to talk about communication and what it means to Michael to live brighter and not repeat the same scenario. And so he's going to tell you the good, bad, and ugly of our relationship. No.
It's 99% good.
Yeah. He has to say that.
I have to say that.
Okay.
No, it's a way different relationship from the perspective of communication. The previous relationship that I was in for many years, just like Tara, was one where we would offer our opinion. I would offer my opinion or a like or a dislike, and that was accepted only up to the point where the kibosh was put on it, meaning I didn't really have an opinion or it didn't matter. And so when I was going through what I call my recovery in my post-divorce for about a year, it took a lot of time for me to kind of recover from that. And something that I really noticed was a very much lack of confidence in personal relationship. Successful businessman, 2 companies nationwide, great father, all the kids love me and all of that. But I was not very comfortable with myself. And that's what I had to really work on. And I was doing the work even though I didn't know what it was called because I hadn't learned it from Tara yet. But it was rebuilding my confidence, rebuilding my like for myself, rebuilding firm boundaries that I was going to hold to. And so it takes a long time to do it. One of the things that I really enjoy about our relationship is that we are very playful, of course, and we have a lot of fun. We are very sincere. And everything that is on our mind, we can talk to the other person about. We have, and maybe Tara has discussed it with you already, but we have some rules that we came up as we were dating and then as we were engaged. And one of them is the 2-day rule. And what it means is if something is on my mind or if something is on Tara's mind for longer than 2 days, then we bring it up with the other person. It could be something that I say that Tara either misunderstood or I made her feel bad, or there was just a topic for us to discuss. It's really good. We call it weeding the garden. And Saturday is our normal weeding day, but we've found out through our relationship is we weed almost immediately. Or very, very quickly.
Yes. I'm one that needs to process a little bit. And so usually I take a little bit of time and kind of work through, why exactly I'm upset and what part's on my side of the street and what part I need clarification. And that's kind of the second half of the Unravel notebook is really barf it out, plan it out, sort it out. Or barf it out, sort it out, plan it out. And so that's super helpful for me. And usually, though, with that 2-day rule, it's been very helpful because it's very easy. Because we both come from relationships and prior backgrounds where it's all about the we. The me does not matter. And we were actually not really relevant in our previous relationships.
True.
And so now we're really about that there's room for both of us. The me is more important than the we. And that makes us a stronger marriage, is that we keep our individuality and we keep our thoughts and opinions. and we just find we found systems that work for us in order to express things and give our opinion, but in ways that aren't like, mean or arrogant and confrontational, but are about like, hey, we're a team, we love each other. Could you clarify something? I think I may have heard this wrong, or I felt bad and I'd like to talk about it. Something like that. So our approach is definitely a soft approach, because I think, coming from in my past background, a no approach, you can't talk at all, and his past background of a very like verbally strong and like there's only one winner here approach, neither of those are helpful or good. And so really kind of finding that great sweet spot for us to be able to communicate, because I think you could be, in a beginning relationship, a wonderful relationship, but if you don't know how to conflict resolve, and if you're getting little slices at every conflict resolution, that's not good, because it's like I did a previous podcast called Death by 1,000 Cuts, because yes. You kind of bleed out after a while.
You do.
And so, but I really have this belief that conflict could actually bring us closer together and help us understand each other and know each other more, because we have a whole different world of perspectives, views, and all of that. And it really has done that. I would say that's been really vital. Are you finding yourself constantly pouring your energy into relationships, leaving you drained and unfulfilled? Do you feel like you're going through the motions of life and have somehow lost yourself? The Unravel Notebook offers a transformative journey to break free from those exhausting patterns. The guided prompts are designed to reconnect you with your inner self, strengthen your relationship with God, and foster healthier connections with others. The Unravel Notebook will help you identify and overcome old patterns, paving the way to a brighter, more intimate life. The Unravel Notebook journey for me, I took as an overly kind person in a destructive relationship for 22 years and transformed me into a now thriving business owner with a fabulous marriage. Start your journey to live brighter today. Order the Unravel Notebook on Amazon. Another thing I think we should talk about is mind reading. What are your thoughts about that, Michael Sean?
I found that in my relationship with Tara is that I'm not a very good mind reader. And she's not a very good mind reader.
I'm not a very good mind reader either.
So, as she was talking about in our relationship, we always bring something to each other. No matter what we're talking about, we've agreed it's based in love. So if I have something on my mind or something, she's not going to become offended or anything. It's just a clarification of information is really what we're looking for. Part of that is mind reading. So it is unfair for me, and there's been instances of this where, it's primarily in the kitchen because I'm kind of a kitchen person, and where something was not put back to where I thought it should have been, or where I found it or something like that. Someone puts it in a different place or something like that. And then I go back and I go to look for it, and I get a little grouchy, I guess, or grumpy. I'm like,
I don't think I knew about this, actually.
No.
About the kitchen. This is good information. This is why we do this.
We'll have to weed about it.
We're going to have to weed. It's Saturday, so we can talk about it more.
No, but the thing is, it's not fair for me to get upset or something like that, because I haven't explained this to Tara. I don't think I ever have told you. I like to find things in the same spot over and over and over, so I learned where they are.
That's funny, because the kids and I have a joke, because if we can't find something, we think it's Mike.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I guess we have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the interesting thing is, when it comes down, because there's been several times where he'll do something and I'll create a story about what he's thinking. And unless I've actually asked him, unless you ask somebody what they're really thinking, you don't know. You're assuming.
Exactly.
And assuming, what is it called? Like, you make an ass out of you and me if you divide up assume.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot, where you assume that they should know what you should want for your birthday. They assume, I could assume, different thoughts and feelings that aren't there, and I have to be really careful about that. So we have something else where I can just say, hey, what's on your mind, or da-da-da-da, and we're really good about sharing that with each other, because that's another thing, actually, for me to have closeness. I really kind of have to know the good, bad, and ugly about
Yes.
a person. So if it's always surfacey and we never talk about anything below the level, and we never talk about feelings, it's very hard for me to feel like we're close.
Yes, and something I've learned in our relationship, if there is something on my mind, you've seen me do this, I will communicate less and I'll quiet. I will get quiet. And it's just my way of like, okay, was this on purpose or was it not? Or that's how I process my feelings. I have to be really cognizant of that with Tara, though, because in her previous marriage, that was something that really triggered where the other person went quiet.
Yes.
And that lack of communication and the lack of just noticing you did not do well for you.
Yeah, because it was a quiet for like 6 days, bring something up, and then I'd be quiet again for another 6 days, and nothing ever got resolved. So the quietness was actually a punishment. I'm distancing myself emotionally from you because you've upset me, and I don't want to, this is how the passive aggressive. But with you, it's been nice because we've talked about it. It's like I'm being quiet because I love you. I think you're fabulous, and I'm processing. And so for me to do that, I need a little bit of quiet.
Yes.
And it only lasts like hours, maximum a day.
Yeah.
And we know we're going to address it again. So it's never like, and this is going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And you're never going to have any resolution, and suck it up because that's what you're getting.
No, and Tara's no, it's true. And Tara's given me a lot of grace. Now that she knows that that's how my brain works and that's how I just do things. I still tell her I'm not getting quiet because I'm angry with you or whatever. I'm just getting quiet because my mice have to get on the cage there and run around for a little while and then just get it sorted out. But really, that's when we're very cognizant of the 2-day thing and just retouching with each other and explaining, okay, this is how I felt, good or bad. Everything in our relationship, the foundation is love. It's love. And sometimes, most of the time, to be honest, honey, I'm going to say something like, I'm just going to say something. And I'll be joking and that because I'm very playful and all of that. And sometimes my jokes
aren't very funny.
I think they're really funny.
Yes.
But some jokes we've said now, I will actually think of something funny, and then I'll kind of chuckle to myself, and Tara will ask me, okay, is that something you should tell me or something you should not tell me? And keep the joke to yourself. And there's some jokes I've kept to myself.
And that's a good thing because there's been times where I've kind of like pried the joke out of them and they're not funny to me. So it's just good to know that, we have like when to say something. And I've actually caught myself too. It's like, oh, I could joke about that, but that's a little bit sensitive. And I'm not going to joke about that because that's actually a sensitive thing. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And we love joking. We love being playful. And so that's a really good thing. I think I think that's really important in a relationship is to find some way to play, however that looks.
Yeah, that playfulness for us is wonderful.
Yes.
We have a lot of fun teasing each other and having fun.
Yes. I am so tired of attracting selfish, narcissistic relationships. It's exhausting. Even in my workplace, I find that people want to take advantage of my time and energy, and I don't even get it. And friendships are a little bit that way too. What? What are you staring at? Do I have a zit on my face? What? I have a bullseye on my forehead? You mean I'm part of the problem and I'm attracting this myself? That's terrible. If you would like to sign up for the free Kind Girl Bullseye quiz, click the link and you'll find out how big your bullseye is for attracting those kind of relationships and how to make it smaller. So what is there anything else you want to say? I think like living brighter was really intentional for both of us as far as confidence, because we were both raised in environments where it's all about service and others.
Yes.
And then we were both allowed a lot of kind of a downtrodden in our own previous relationships, and we really had to understand the Bible from that point of view and realize that that's actually not how we're supposed to go about things. And so that was really helpful.
Yes.
And so we both did a lot of work before we got together, and it was very intentional as far as knowing ourselves and being like, okay, now that I love myself, so I'm kind to myself, what sort of things are going to work for me and what things aren't, and what are some helpful relational things that are going to build a healthy relationship. So it's like a house built on a foundation, and our foundation is we love God and we love others, and building on that foundation of honesty and love and respect.
Yeah, and we love ourselves,
Yes.
and we're going to take care of ourselves too.
Yes, and that's our responsibility. Like, our happiness doesn't depend on the other person. Our happiness depends on ourselves. And, that can sometimes be like, okay, I can tell that I need a little bit more quiet time, or I need, some of this for myself to keep myself healthy. And that is our own jobs to do that. And then we're kind of like, I feel like the whipped cream, the ice cream, the frosting on the cake, just like the really good stuff. Another thing with our conflict resolution is we don't blame it, like, you did this and you made me do this, and whatever. We a lot of times will just come across, this is what happened, these are the circumstances, this is how I feel.
This is how I felt.
Exactly. And because it's not, and a feeling isn't an accusation, it's just a feeling, very neutral.
Yes.
So it's not like a blaming and you did this. I think that's really important.
It is very important. And when we've talked about it from that perspective, we've always learned, like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that at all. That was not my intent.
Yes.
I was just blah. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's instead of you made me feel like this, it's when I heard that, I felt like this. Most of the time, like I said before, it's just an information clarification process. Because, again, coming from the basis of love, the last thing we want to do is to hurt each other and make each other feel badly. And so most of the time it's just been really, looking at intent, and, where I would say, gosh, I just kind of said something. I didn't realize it impacted you that much. I'm really sorry. And I'll try to kind of watch myself in the future.
Yes. And I think we're also very good about saying we're sorry. Because
all the time.
I think both of us, I remember I had to joke, I'm like, I think I felt or heard I'm sorry in my first relationship 5 times in 22 years. And so I remember hearing that's actually a super big red flag, is if you're dating someone and they have difficulty saying I'm sorry. That's a big challenge.
Yes.
Because honestly, you have two I don't like to say broken people, but 2 people from completely different environments and completely different ways of thinking, and you're going to hurt each other. And I think it's really important to be able to say I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, and really care about the other person's thoughts and feelings. I remember being a little shocked at first when we were first dating, that it's like, wow, Michael actually really cares about my thoughts and feelings. And you actually said that. You're like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I really care about your thoughts and feelings. And I was like singing the Hallelujah choir back there. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So, that's funny.
Yeah.
So
we're just having a lot of fun.
Yes.
Tara's the love of my life, and it's really, I tell her a lot. I love her, and just be romantic, which is super easy for me to do with you, and just I adore her and cherish her. And really, communication, you cannot over communicate. We have a lot of fun with that.
So I guess as far as like some like applications as far as living brighter, I think just like I really believe we're all specialists on ourselves. And so asking yourself, what are things that you need to be your healthiest version of you on your own? And what do you need in a relationship for it to be a healthy version? Like for me, I needed to be very appreciated. And so maybe some people don't need that. And that's what I need. And so like just making sure I know things like that. And then being able to voice thoughts and feelings and finding a good system for conflict resolution and sharing. And it really can make people grow deeper and closer.
Absolutely.
And because we learn more about each other, the way our brains think and process and all of that. It's really good.
And asking questions. We ask each questions a lot, very frequently to each other. Like, how are you feeling? Just as a check-in, but also, if I say something or you say something, we always ask each other very frequently, like, okay, how are you doing? Is it something you want to talk about, or most of the time it's like, nope, I'm good.
Because it's amazing how much, again, this is that mind reading. It's amazing how much we can interpret things for through our own lens. Like I
Yeah.
really like with that one book that we read together is basically we're having conversations with ourselves, and occasionally we have conversations with each other.
Yes.
And that's because we have a whole preconceived ideas, beliefs, history, like that are all
Yeah.
our own. And
Yeah.
we don't realize that they're our own, and we're really having so many conversations with ourselves and occasionally communicating with each other.
Yeah,
And he's having a conversation with himself.
Yeah, every two-person conversation like this, there's actually 4 people.
Yes.
It's what I'm saying, it's what I'm thinking I'm saying, what you're receiving that I'm saying, and what you tell me back.
And then my conversation with myself.
Yeah, like, I think this is what he means, you know. So
yeah, so clarifying questions, really helpful.
Very.
Because I can tell you that I'm 90% wrong when I'm thinking that he's thinking something, and then he's not. So
You're never 90% wrong.
Oh, yeah, whatever. You're being recorded. That's why you're saying that. Okay, anyways, have a great day. I believe in you. Live brighter and make it a wonderful week.
Bye.